Hello, welcome to Between the Chalk Lines. I'm Randy Nunez, your host. We are doing the weekly wrap up, wrapping up the week and talking about what's happened in the past few days. First off, international news: 30-year-old left-handed pitcher Shota Imanaga has requested that the Bay Stars post him. Whether or not they do that is unknown yet, but we do know about another Asian arm that may be posted in the next few days. Yoshinobu Yamamoto will most likely be posted on Monday or Tuesday, per sources. Hassan, Sherman, and such. Uh, they have said that it'll probably be posted in the next few days. And once that happens, that gives them a 45-day window to negotiate and talk to all 30 teams and decide whether or not they want to make a deal with one of those. Um, Going on to the Yankees, uh, who actually have some interest in Shota. They actually talked to David Ross, ex manager of the Cubs. He was just pushed out because of the hiring of Craig Counsell. Excuse me if I do a little bit of throat things. I have a little bit of a cold today. But yes, the Yankees actually talked to him about whether or not he would be interested in becoming their new bench coach for 2024. And as far as the Yankees go, we're going to be hearing a lot about what they've done this week, as well as rumors that the owner, Hal Steinbrenner, has had several talks with Aaron Judge and their direction going forth into the future. Because obviously, Aaron Judge just signed a 9-year deal last year in offseason. He wants to win. He wants to go to the postseason. He wants to go to the playoffs. He wants to do something. And they did not win. They did not do well. They did not do Yankee style playing last year. Um, so that's got to change. Um, as far as Angels and coaching and managers, Angels just brought in their new manager, Ron Washington, officially, and they've also officially announced that Eric Young Sr. will be the third base coach for 2024. Ryan Goins will be the infield coach for 2024, and Bo Porter will be the first base coach for 2024 under Ron Washington. The Astros also made a managerial announcement promoting their bench coach in Joe Estrada. He is now the head of the entire team. Who will be the coaches for him? We don't know yet quite exactly, just like the Angels. Still have a few holes to fill. But after that, on Monday, we had the first awards for this week. This week was award week. Everyone got a ton of hardware. And Corbin Carroll of the National League, Gunnar Henderson of the American League, both unanimously won their respective league's Rookie of the Year award. And it is only the fifth time it has ever happened in MLB history. So keep that in mind. Fifth time, it's not a lot, and that's a lot of Rookie of the Year awards to hand out. Um, the Korean series has ended, meaning that Jung Ho Lee, outfielder in Korea, KBO, will most likely be posted in the coming weeks. I know that he has also requested his team to post him. Uh, you'll know when I know if he has been posted. Uh, Braves are looking at the infielder Von Grisham to possibly play left field. It's a little bit of an odd move, but I know that he hasn't played a lot. Actually, he hasn't played a single inning of MLB play in the outfield at all. He's only played infield. Um, but their infield is pretty stacked if you know the Braves roster. So left field is a need for them. They may or may not go look out for someone else, but Grisham is an in-house possibility, And they are also looking to add a frontline arm or two, possibly, in Nola, Yamamoto, Eminaga, or someone else. Um, this week they did make a lot of moves, and you'll get to hear about that as we go along. The Rays are possibly going to trade their ace, Tyler Glass, now. He is someone that is not going to be controllable for a long time. And we know that the Rays like to have young, controllable arms, young, controllable position players, sign them to long term deals, or even just trade them away, like we're looking at now. So Glass now is on the market for anyone to make an offer for. So we'll see what happens in that front. Um, his extension from 2022 is going to run out at the end of this following season, and he cannot be offered. Uh, Actually, no, he can be offered a qualifying offer. I'm sorry. He can be offered a qualifying offer, so if someone takes him, they can get a draft pick if someone else signs them, if they give him a QO next year. Or if the Rays will probably not give him a QO next year because they are a very low payroll team and high production team. So that's why he's on the trade block. We also have uh, Manuel Margot being called on from the Yankees and the Mets for outfield assistance. Um, he's a fairly decent hitter. Not going to hit 300 plus like, every year, but he will hit for you. And he's got a little bit of pop. Um, he's also a trade candidate for the Rays. So he should make about 10 million this upcoming season, and that's probably just a little bit too much for the Rays, given their situation. Pirates are having their pitcher Johan Oviedo looked at for possible Tommy John surgery. So that's not good news for Pirates fans. I'm sorry. That's about all the news I had for you this week. Unfortunately, they didn't do too much in terms of signing anybody, trading anybody. Um, I don't know about non tendering contracts or tendering contracts. So news for Pirates this week is possible Tommy John surgery and losing Johan Oviedo for the entire 2024 season. Um, and unfortunately, we heard on Tuesday, Padres majority owner Peter Seidler, he's changed San Diego baseball. He changed the way that the team ran once he took over in 2020. They made trades, they made signings, uh, they went to the playoffs, and then this year they kind of just fell flat, unfortunately. But Seidler, RIP. Age, he was only 63 years old. He should not have passed away this young, unfortunately. But he does have some awesome background. His grandfather owned the Brooklyn Dodgers from 1950 to 1979, I believe. Yes, 1950 to 79. And he was part of that move from Brooklyn to Los Angeles. So blood, was thick of baseball. He just had that baseball mentality. He was just a part of that baseball, royalty. He'll always be remembered. Rest in peace, Peter Seidler. Uh, they did name Eric Katsenda as the interim control person for the team because the major MLB does require that all teams have someone, whether it be a president, baseball, or baseball operations, someone that's a point of contact for your team. So Eric Katsuna is that interim point of contact person. We'll see if that changes after or during 2024 or even before spring training. And as far as Tuesday goes, as expected, all 7 players that were offered a qualifying offer worth $20.3 million declined. That's Shohei Ohtani, Blake Snell, Josh Hader, Matt Chapman, Aaron Nola, Cody Bellinger, and Sonny Gray all said, no thank you, we'll go on as free agents. We want more money, more years than 1 year and 20 million. Matt Chapman has already um, reportedly turned down extension offers this past spring and talks with Blue Jays. It looks like the Giants are high on getting Matt Chapman. I know that they missed out on both Aaron Judge and Carlos Correa last year. So this year is kind of San Francisco's year to make a point of signing someone big. I know they are big on Otani as well. They may look into Yoshinobu or Shota if they can't get Otani back or up to the Bay Area from Los Angeles. And A's selected 3 players to their 40-man roster uh, to protect them from the Rule 5 draft. Rule 5 draft is kind of tricky. Big names were Emmanuel Rodriguez for the Twins and first round pick that a lot of you know, probably from the Blue Jays. Austin Martin were selected to their 40-man roster to be protected as well. Guardians actually DFA'd initially right-handed pitcher Cal Quantrill, but they ended up trading him. Ended up trading Cal to find it here real quick. Sorry, to the Rockies. So Cal was initially DFA'd, but the Rockies came in and traded minor league catcher Cody Huff to the Guardians for Cal Quantrill. And then they also DFA'd right-handed pitcher Pete Smith, Daniel Espino to make room on their 40-man roster. Dodgers added right-handed pitcher Nick Frasso and Landon Knack, along with catcher Hunter Furuccia, to their 40-man roster ahead of the Rule 5 draft to protect them as well. That was on Tuesday. Again, Tuesday, the Rule 5 draft was going to begin. And if you didn't have a minor league player that had 5 or more years of minor league service on your 40-man roster, they would be open to being drafted by another team. So that's why all these teams made these, might look like odd moves to many fans, but if you know, they're just trying to protect them so they don't get stolen by another team. Joel Wolf, agent for Giancarlo Stanton, I told you that we're going to bring him back up, and Yoshinobu Yamamoto said about the GM Brian Cashman's comments that you have to have both mentally and physically built body of be made of pure Teflon mentally and physically, because you're gonna get hurt. Mean things are gonna be said about you in the New York media, whether it's your own general manager or the tabloids or the news or the radio. You name it, they're gonna say some nasty stuff about you in New York if you don't perform. So you have to just keep your head solid, keep it on straight, and perform on the field. After that, Brandon Hyde won the Manager of the Year. He brought, in his first season, mind you, Orioles to a 101 win season, gaining the first seed in the AL bracket of the playoffs. Unfortunately, they were knocked off, but they did improve a lot. Nobody thought that the Orioles would be winning the AL East and then going off to the playoffs. Um, Everyone thinks it's always Boston or New York or the Rays. Like the Rays did get to the playoffs, but they also lost. But congratulations to Brandon Hyde. You definitely deserved the AL Manager of the Year. National League side, Skip Schumacher for the Marlins. He also brought his team to the playoffs. Uh, so congratulations to both those men. Brendan Hyde and Skip Schumacher, former player, um, won a National League Manager of the Year. Some deals here. So we're going to get into some deals now that we're in the middle of the week here. Some stuff does start to happen. Teams are trying to avoid arbitration and such. Nationals do avoid arbitration with Victor Robles, who initially turned down a $2.7 million deal, but whatever they offered him now, probably in the $3 million plus range, he agreed to, as well as Tanner Rainey, who will be making $1.5 million for 2024 season. Going on to next day, Wednesday. Giants, like I said, committed their front office, their ownership has said they are committed to spending big on free agents. They've already met with Chapman. They're looking at Ohtani. They're going to look at everyone else. Cody Bellinger. I've heard about Cody Bellinger probably filling in center field for the Giants if they can get him. I know that Cody Bellinger is probably going to command a 9, 10, 11-year deal or whatever. Something of that nature. It's going to be close to double digits in the years and definitely going to be $300 plus million as far as that goes. And speaking of Shohei Ohtani, he won the AL MVP unanimously. On the other side, National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. won his unanimously. This is the first time in history that both MVP award winners won unanimously. Shohei Ohtani is the first Japanese-born player to win more than just one MVP. The other person being Ichiro had a single MVP award to his name. And Acuna Jr. is only the third Venezuelan-born MVP award winner, joining Altuve and Cabrera Miggy. So congratulations to those two. More awards. Garrett Cole won the Cy Young in the AL, and Blake Snell won his second Cy Young. He's won one with the Rays in AL, and it's not now this time he won one in the National League with the Padres. There's been a lot of talk about whether or not he deserved it. There wasn't quite as much talk on Garrett Cole's side, but Blake Snell, he's both now a Cy Young Award winner and he's a free agent, so you can see him getting quite a bit of money and years in his new contract that he'll be signing with someone. I don't know who is looking into Blake Snell. Probably a lot of teams. Anybody that said they're looking into an ace is probably looked into Blake Snell and his services. MLB did some due diligence this time around. They tendered a status check on KBO relief pitcher Woo Suk Go, and as well as outfielder Jung Ho Lee that I mentioned before. We know that Jung Ho Lee has been looked into for months now. Woo Suk Go, who's a relief pitcher, has only been looked into recently, and we'll follow up on those two men in a little bit. But after that check on those two, speaking of the MLB, they are looking into making some rule changes for 2024. They're talking about changing the pitch clock with runners on base from 20 seconds to just 18. So they want to shorten it and quicken the pace. I mean, how much quicker can you really get the game going? I don't know. Um, a lot of people, probably you, are asking yourselves how much faster can the game go. They're gonna add some stuff. They're gonna be talking about some stuff at the winter meetings. So we'll see what that happens or what happens there, and I'll tell you obviously at the weekly wrap up and the winter meetings when that wraps up. The Brewers made a manager announcement, and Pat Murphy, he will be the new manager for them going on. And the Brewers are actually in a lot of news coming up this week, if you haven't already heard. Um, Along with Murphy, Ricky Weeks, former Brewer himself, will be joining as the associate manager, not bench coach, but associate manager. I don't quite know what that position is, but they're saying it's alongside Pat Murphy. So we'll see how that goes for the Brew Crew. Um, Dodgers, Giants, Padres are all rumored to be looking into Blake Snell. Like I said, any team that's looking for a frontline guy or a second guy is going to be looking at Blake Snell. We do know that for sure. Dodgers, Giants, Padres. Um, as I mentioned before, Giants are going to be trying to spend big. They may not spend big, depending if they get outbid on someone, but they're going to try at least. So, Giants fans, be thankful that you're not an A's fan because the A's fans have some bad news ahead, unfortunately. Padres' return is a double-edged sword for Snell um, because they have the familiarity. They know each other. The players know Blake. Blake knows the players. Blake knows the fans and the environment, but he may just cost too much money. We talked about how Padres had to take out a loan of $50 million back in September just to pay their players, just to cover payroll. $50 million. That's insane. It's unheard of. Moving on from uh, Blake Snell for now. The Royals GM JJ Piccolo mentioned at the GM meetings for the weekend that they are looking to add to their rotation, as are most teams. I think you can say all 30 teams would like to add to their rotation, uh, but they're also looking to add to their bullpen and a power bat. Um, it's very likely that they will have a closer by committee in 2024 if they don't get a true closer in that bullpen, since he did trade away Aroldis Chapman and he is now with the Rangers. Um, so, closer by committee, that's never a good thing. You never want to hear that as a fan because you don't know who's going to be trotting out into the ninth inning. Could be a left-hander, could be a right-hander, could be someone you've never heard of. Uh, but that's what the Royals GM has said for now. Diamond Sport Group, uh, the official broadcast company for the Guardians and Rangers in market broadcast, mind you. So, those that are in Cleveland, Ohio, in that area, and Arlington, those who watch the games in market may lose the broadcast games for 2024, the entire season. They cut the broadcast for the Diamondbacks and the Padres in market past season, but the MLB did step in and handle those broadcasts themselves. for the range of the games, but they haven't had to deal with uh, having a team not having in-game broadcasts for an entire season. So we'll see how that goes. Again, Diamond Sports Group, tweet at them, email them, anything. Just tell them, please keep the Guardians and keep the Rangers on broadcast, on TV. You want to hear them. Um, the A's did acquire infielder Abraham Toro. You may or may not have heard of him. He's been on the Astros. I believe he was on Brewers. And now he's on the A's. Um, and they did also get minor league pitcher from the Brewers, uh, Chad Patrick. No move was required to add Toro to the roster for or due to the fact that they're only at 36 players. It's a sad sight to see, honestly. The A's team, the way it's going. I don't know what's going to happen to Oakland now that they're losing A's. A's will be going to Las Vegas. That was officially voted on yesterday unanimously. Again, a non-unanimous vote. All owners in MLB said, "Sure, John Fisher, go ahead, pick up the A's, take them from Oakland, move on to Nevada, go to Las Vegas." Only problem is there they have this last season at the Coliseum. So if you're an A's fan, go watch them. Even though you hate John Fisher or you dislike John Fisher and you don't like the way he's running things on the team, go and support the players. It's about the guys on the field and the manager and all the coaches and the guys behind the scenes. Really, honestly, I'm telling you from the bottom of my heart, as an Angels fan that roots against the A's, I'm all for you guys packing that Coliseum in 2024 and showing that you really do love the A's. Uh, so go ahead and do that just for the players, just to have fun. It's the last season they're going to be in Oakland. After that, 2025, 6 and 7, while their new stadium is maybe being constructed, um, they'll be playing in minor league stadiums at Oracle Stadium where the Giants play. They don't have a true home in Vegas yet. Not until at least around 2028, supposedly. So we'll see how that plays out over the next few years. Um, I can't tell you how it will. I'm not a, you know, I can't read the future, unfortunately. I wish I could, or else I would bet on these award winners. Um, but yeah, John Fisher, truly, I myself don't like the way he runs his team. If that tells you anything. Um, so moving on from that, after introducing the manager Ron Washington, Angels GM Perry Managion did state that they will be aggressive this offseason. I've seen this as an Angels fan personally too many times. Uh, them stating that the ownership and that the general manager will be aggressive in the offseason. They wait until, top 2 tier free agents are off the board. The Otanis, the Snells. You're gonna get guys like Lucas Giolito. We got at the trade line, at the trade deadline. Excuse me. Um, it's always just middle of the pack, and they don't even know what they want besides two, mind you, two starting pitchers. So how are you going to split up your money between two starting pitchers after losing Shohei Ohtani? Because that's what this tells me. This is telling me that Shohei Ohtani will join another team that is not named the Angels. Um, Besides that, the Dodgers re-signed right-handed pitcher Ricky Bonasco to a 1-year, $900,000 major league deal, putting them at 39 players of 40 maximum. And then late Thursday night, the craziest deal that I had seen on paper, mind you, was pulled off on this offseason, I should say. Not in history, but the craziest deal so far between the White Sox and the Braves. The White Sox got 5 players for one sent to Atlanta in Aaron Bummer, a relief pitcher. All they wanted was a relief pitcher. And they sent 3 former first round picks in Michael Soroka, Jared Schuster, and Braden Schumacher. They also sent Nicky Lopez, who will probably fill the White Sox shortstop need since they declined Tim Anderson's option. Nicky Lopez was on the Royals last year as well as the Braves, so he is a mainly second base and shortstop player, and I think he'll fit just fine in Chicago, as well as Riley Goins. Aaron Bummer, he is an interesting cookie, to say the least. Last year was a terrible year for him. But if you look at 2019 to 2022, he had a 2.5 ERA. He was striking out about 12 guys per 9 innings. He gave up, I think, 9 home runs and over 160 innings pitched, 160 appearances. He gets very light contact. The Braves want that guy. They want that 2019 and 2022 guy. And they also have the possibility of keeping him through 2026. 2024 is guaranteed, and then they have 2 team options for 25 and 26. So if he performs like they think he can perform, their analytics department is beyond me. When I looked into him, I was looking at xFIP, barrel rate. The Braves, in their press release, named several of these high and advanced analytic numbers that a lot of people don't know about or don't care to look into about Bummer. They talked about Bummer like he was the next best thing to sliced bread. So Bummer, I wish you the best in Atlanta, and I hope Atlanta made the right move. And as far as the guys that Chicago got, their GM just said earlier today, everyone, we will listen to offers on everyone. Before, they were saying everyone but Luis Robert Jr., but now he is straight out saying we will listen to offers on everyone on the roster of the Chicago White Sox. So even Nicky Lopez, who they just got, could possibly go somewhere. So that happened last night. Sorry. Guardians, like I said, they made that trade with the Rockies. Cubs, still looking at Cody Bellinger, just a long shot, but I think they could get Cody Bellinger. Looking at Otani, Yamamoto, Imanaga, even Corbin Burns from the Brewers. KBO reliever Musak Go and his representatives officially asked his team for posting. So we'll see if he gets posted. Diamondbacks, Tigers are also showing interest in Yamamoto. So, I mean, like I said, you could just name all the teams in Major League Baseball and say that they're interested in Yamamoto. Another trade that went down. Uh, Diamondbacks and Brewers and Yankees. Yankees sent first baseman slash outfielder Jake Bauers to Milwaukee for outfield prospects in Jace Avina and Brian Sanchez. Um, the Guardians got right-hand pitcher Scott Barlow from the Padres for right-hand pitcher Eniel de los Santos, and also the Padres signed Ramon Laureano for a one-year deal to avoid arbitration there. The Rays and the Marlins made a trade. Rays got infielder Eric Lara. He's a prospect. And right-hand pitcher Andrew Lindsay, who's also a prospect who just got drafted this past season, um, as well as a player to be named later or money. While the Marlins got infielder slash outfielder Vidal Brujan and right-hand pitcher Calvin Fasher. Braves sent relief pitcher Nick Anderson to the Royals for straight cash, and they also sent Kyle Wright, who will miss the entire 2024 season due to surgery on the shoulder, to the Royals as well for former first round pick in Jackson Cower. And that is about it, besides the 60 plus players who are non-tendered by teams. I could go all day on who these guys were. You know, I might, actually. Angels, Jose Marte, right-handed pitcher. Athletics, infielder Kevin Smith. Blue Jays, right-handed pitcher Adam Simber. Braves, left-handed pitcher Colby Allard. Right-handed pitcher Yanni Chirinos. Right-handed pitcher Penn Murphy. Left-handed pitcher Angel Perdomo. Right-handed pitcher Michael Tonkin. Catcher Chadwick Trump. Infielder slash outfielder Luke Williams. And then the Brewers didn't tender Brandon Woodruff a contract because of his injury. They were actually talking to several teams about a possible trade, but the non-tender date line came before they could get a trade out. As well as first baseman Rowdy Tellez and right-hand pitcher J.C. Mejia. Cardinals catcher Andrew Nizzer, first baseman Juan Yepez, right-hand pitcher Dakota Hudson, right-hand pitcher Jake Woodford. The Cubs didn't tender right-hand pitchers Cody Hewer and Ethan Roberts, as well as left-handed pitcher Brandon Hughes. Diamondbacks didn't tender former Rookie of the Year winner center field Kyle Lewis, who is now a free agent. Giants didn't tender right-hand pitchers Jose Cruz, as well as Cole Waits, and left-hand pitcher Thomas Sapucki. Mariners didn't tender first baseman slash DH Mike Ford. Marlins didn't tender catcher Jacob Stallings and infielder slash outfielder Garrett Hampson. Mets didn't tender first base slash DH Daniel Vogelbach, and right-hand pitchers Jeff Bringham, Sam Coonrod, Trevor Gotts. The Nationals didn't tender first baseman Dominic Smith. That's a little bit of a surprise, as well as right-hand pitcher Coy Abbott. Padres didn't tender catcher Austin Nola, who's more of a defensive catcher, so I can see that, as well as right-hand pitchers Jose Espada and left-hand pitcher Tim Hill, and finally outfielder Taylor Colweg. Phillies didn't tender a contract to left-hand pitcher Josh Fleming. Pirates didn't tender a contract to right-hand pitcher Osvaldo Beto and right-hand pitcher Hunter Stratton. The Rangers didn't tender right-hand pitcher Matt Bush, left-hand pitcher Brett Martin. The Rays didn't tender right-hand pitcher Cooper Criswell, who I've seen and heard of. Red Sox didn't tender right-hand pitcher White Mills. The Reds, surprisingly, did not tender infielder/outfielder Nick Senzel. He was one of their top prospects just a few years ago, and top rookies as well. Right-hand pitcher Derek Law and left-hand pitcher Ryder San Martin. Rockies did not tender a contract to right-hand pitcher Tommy Doyle. The Royals didn't tender contracts to outfielder Diego Hernandez, left-hand pitcher Austin Cox, catcher Logan Porter, as well as right-hand pitcher Josh Stottman. Tigers didn't tender a contract to outfielder/DH Austin Meadows. He was a high pick and very hyped prospect, as well as right-hand pitcher Spencer Turnbull, which surprises me. Turnbull could go to someone who needs a fourth or fifth man in the rotation, possibly. Right-hand pitcher Freddie Pacheco, Garrett Hill, and Brennan Hanafy. Twins didn't tender contracts to left-hand pitcher Giovanni Moran, right-hand pitcher Ronnie Henriquez, and finally the Yankees did not tender contracts to right-hand pitchers Albert Abreu, Lou Trevino, and left-handed pitcher Anthony Miswicks. Those were all of the players that are now officially free agents. They could be the next Cody Bellinger, who signs a one-year deal and just blows up. Some of these guys, like I said, were top prospects, award winners, you name it, they did it. So that's it for the weekly wrap-up. I hope you wrap up your week well this weekend. And again, giving away a Jonah Bride rookie autograph from Big League Baseball 2023 opening act insert. That will be going out next week after the weekly wrap up. Follow on X, subscribe on YouTube and like the video. Follow on TikTok, Instagram, you name it. All of those will be linked down below. Have a good evening, and I'll see you next week.